Now let's see how to apply various operations on the created series data structures. So it's possible to apply various kinds of operations on the already created data structures. We can apply operations like addition, subtraction, multiplication, so on and so forth. So now let's see how we can apply them. So basically the operations can be divided into unary operations where only one series is involved in the operation, and the binary operations where two different series objects are involved in the operation. Now let's discuss about how to apply the unary operations on the series data structure. So we can apply sum, product, mean, absolute value on a single series to get the summation, product of the elements, the mean of the whole elements, and also to convert the elements into the absolute values. Consider the series S1 for the illustration of the operations. The series contains elements 5, minus 2, 3, 7, and I am not passing any index argument explicitly. That is how the integer index is considered as default. To find the sum of the elements of this series, we can apply the sum method on S1, which retrieves the sum of all the elements of S1. So here you can observe the return value is a scalar which is equal to the sum of all the elements in the series S1. And similarly, we can find the product of all the elements by using the PROD function, which stands for product. So S1 dot product. So this method returns the product of all the elements as a scalar. And similarly, the mean method allows you to get the mean of all the elements of the series. And we have the ABS method, which allows us to convert all the elements of a series into the absolute values. So in this case, S1 dot ABS, this statement converts all the elements of S1 into absolute values. If you consider the original series values, there are some negative values also in S1, but when we apply ABS, the values are now absolute. So that is how we can apply unary functions on the series data structure. Now let's see how we can apply binary operations on the series data structure. We have methods like add, sub, mul, div, power, covariance, which can be applied on two different series objects. So consider these two series objects S1 and S2, where S1 contains the elements 5, 2, 3, 7 and S2 contains the elements 1, 6, 4, 9. And in this case also I have not explicitly mentioned any index values. That is how both the series objects have the integer indexing 0, 1, 2, 3 and 0, 1, 2, 3. So now let's apply the add method. So when you apply the add method on both S1 and S2, so these binary operations, how they are applied is, all these binary operations are applied on the corresponding elements of the two series data objects that are involved in the operation, and the operation is applied on the elements whose indices are the same. So say for example, here in this case we are applying S1 dot add of S2. The add method adds the elements of S1 and S2, but how the addition operation is done here is the elements with the same index in both S1 and S2 are added together and a series is returned as a result of this operation. Here the element 5 in S1 and element 1 in S2 both are having the index value 0. That is how these two values are added up, and in the resultant series the element is added with an index of 0, and similarly the element 2 and element 6 of S1 and S2 are having the same index, so they are added together and added as a new element with the index 1, and so on and so forth. The same is applicable for the remaining elements also. So that is how these binary operations are applied on the elements whose indices are the same. In this case both S1 and S2 are having the same indices. So in that case we did not get any issue. Now consider these two series objects S1 and S2 where we have different index values. So if you observe, S1 is having the elements 5, 2, 3, 7 with the index values as A, B, C, D, and S2 is having the elements 1, 6, 4, 9 with the index values as A, B, D, E. If you observe the index values, they are not the same in both S1 and S2. So now if you apply the add operation on S1 and S2, how it is applied is, for the element 5 in S1 and for the element 1 in S2, the index value is the same. So those corresponding elements are added together and attached to the new series with the index A. And similarly the same thing is applicable for the element 2 and 6 because they both have the same index B. And similarly for the element 7 and 4, they are also having the same index D. So the corresponding elements are added together and attached with that index. But what about the values 3 whose index is C in S1, but there is no corresponding element with the index C in S2. In that case what happens is, it assumes the element as a NaN element with the same index in S2 also, and then the operation is applied. So in this case the index value C is not available in S2, so a NaN value is assumed to be available in S2 and then the operation is applied. That is how with the index C I am getting a NaN value, because 3 plus NaN, which is equal to a NaN value. And the same thing is applicable for the element 9 with the index E in S2, because there is no element with the index E in S1. So it assumes that there is a NaN value with the index E and the corresponding elements are added together, that is 9 plus NaN, which results in a NaN value again. So that is how the add method results in 2 NaN values in the resultant series. So to avoid these NaN values, we can use the fill value as an argument. Instead of using the NaN value for the missing index values, the value that we are providing with the fill value attribute will be assigned and then the operation is performed. So in this case, what happens is, consider the element 3 whose index is C. There is no corresponding index in S2. So because we are passing the fill value as 0 and it assumes that there is an element 0 with the index C, and then the operation, the addition operation is applied on 3 and 0 because they both are having the same index, and that is how we are getting 3 as a result with the index C. So that is how fill value allows us to fill with some value while applying the binary operations. So similar to the add method, we have the subtract method to apply the subtraction operation on two different series data structures, and similarly we have the MUL method, which stands for multiplication, which can be used to multiply the corresponding elements whose indices are the same in two different series objects. And we have the div method, which stands for division, which performs the division operation on two different series objects. Here in the statement S1 dot div of S2, so the elements of S1 are divided by S2 and the result is returned as a series. And we have the COV method, which allows us to compute the covariance between two series objects. The covariance method on two series data structures results in a scalar value. So now we understand how the unary and binary operations works on the series data structures. So now let's see some of the additional attributes and methods that are useful in the context of the series data structures. So consider this example series ES1 with the values 5, NaN, 3 and 7, and the index values as A, B, C, D, whose data type is float 64. So if you remember, as we are not passing any data type value, the data type is set to float 64 by default. So after creation of the series data structure, and if we display the series data structure, actually it displays both the index values along with the values, right? If you would like to retrieve the index values alone, we have the attribute index, which retrieves the index values of the series alone. So here if you observe S1 dot index, it retrieves the index values of the series S1. And similarly, the values attribute of the series can be used to retrieve the values alone. S1 dot values retrieves all the values of the series S1. To retrieve the type of the elements of the series, we can use the D type attribute, which retrieves the type of the series S1, which retrieves the type of the series. So S1 dot D type, it retrieves the type of the series S1. To check the number of elements in the series, we can use the size attributes. So S1 dot size returns the value 4, indicating that there are 4 different elements in the series S1. Here you can observe there are 4 elements in S1. So the size attribute, it is returning a value 4. And whenever we are applying various analytical operations on the data, it is very, very important to understand whether there exists any NaNs in the data or not. So to check whether there exists any NaN values in the given data, we can use the attribute has NaNs with the series. So S1 dot has NaNs, it returns a true value as there is a NaN value in the series S1. Here you can observe the second element is the NaN value in S1. That is how when you call the attribute has NaNs with S1, it is returning a true value. And if there are no NaN values, then it returns a false value. And sometimes it is very, very important to remove all the NaN values in the given data. So you can apply the drop NEA method to remove all the NaN values in the series data structure. So you can use S1 dot drop NEA by passing the argument in place equal to true. So you can retrieve all the NaN values in the series S1. So if you observe, S1 contains few NaN values, and after applying this drop NEA method, all the NaN values have been removed. So here drop NEA stands for drop not a number values. So far in this lecture, we have seen how to create the series data structures in pandas, how to access elements from the series objects, and in addition, we have seen application of various operations on the series data structure, like how to apply the unary operations, binary operation, and how to get the details of the series data structures. So all these details we have seen in this video. So now I hope you understand how to create a one-dimensional data structure in pandas. Thank you for watching this video.